Okay, are you going to explain what the hell that is?
I was told when you represent political standings and you're in an official capacity, you need to wear a suit.
Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest. Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Got it.
Let's just jump
Let's
the
just
fuck
get
in.
into it.
This is the good life. Oh, this is the good life.
Hey everyone, this is Jaysin from Eo7 Media and Coffee and Cameras, which you are about to get into. Unfortunately, halfway through our episode, we ran into a technological difficulty problem with our audio recorder here, and we ended up losing the second half of the podcast audio, which is a really shame because Hilda and I got into some really good conversations. Now, we do have the audio from the cameras, which don't sound that great, but we think the topic is too important to just throw away or even redo because we think what we're talking about is vital to you and businesses everywhere. So humbly, we are so sorry that this happened, and please forgive us, but hopefully the information will make up for it. Guys, thank you and enjoy the episode.
Is that okay?
I don't have shoes either.
Cool.
That's how we do here at the cafe, at the Eo7 Cafe.
That serves tea and alcohol, but not coffee.
That's right. we got rid of coffee like on episode 1.
I mean,
That was pretty funny.
occasionally, but still.
Okay. Well, I mean, our guests usually like coffee, but actually all our guests have always chosen
Tea, mostly, because you have good tea, that's why.
That is pretty funny. This is a weekly casual conversation where we go off on tangents and stories, sometimes inappropriate, but always fun and informative. So grab a coffee, pull up to our table as we sit down for Coffee and Cameras, brought to you by Eo7 Media. I'm Jaysin.
I'm Hilda.
And together, we're Eo7 Media. And this episode is all about politics, your business, and social media.
Hey, Jaysin.
Hi, Hilda.
Hi. Do you mind if we kind of touch on a delicate subject? I was looking through some forums, and this caught my eye, and I said, I don't want to talk about this, but I think we should. And then you were all over it. So here's
That's true.
Yeah. So here's what somebody posted. Without getting too deep into any specifics, the current state of politics has me absolutely frozen with fear, and I just don't know what to do anymore. This is a business forum, by the way. I forgot to mention that. And he says, I'm so scared to look at what life will look like for myself and my loved ones in a few months, as though we aren't on the precipice of the entire system collapsing. So this is... I feel like not only is this business owners thinking this, but everyday people as well.
Absolutely.
But since, this is a business talk show, we should talk about business. So I know that I've been really overly cautious about what I say, and I even asked you to kind of pull back a little bit.
Yeah.
But the longer this year goes on, the more confident I feel that we can't just not say anything. So... how do you feel about the current state of business and politics?
I think the quote that you just had it sums up, I think, how everyone is feeling right now. And I think if you're not feeling that, then you're not really watching enough content, reading enough news, understanding what the vibe is of the country.
Yeah.
Because even if you think the economy is going well, half of your audience, over half of the people out there don't. So they're pulling back with their money. They're pulling back with their spending. And that's hazardous to all businesses. So I think regardless of political view, you have to be aware of what's going on, not only in the economy that you think is actually happening, but also how the audience is accepting and understanding and rolling with those punches.
Can you give me an example of what you mean, the business person versus the audience?
Sure. So, I mean, something that you and I deal with all the time is whenever you go into a business to deal with marketing, there's two things. There's basically two things to all marketing, right? Is what is the brand and who is their audience? Depending on the type of marketing they want to do, then you throw in what are your goals for that marketing?
Right.
But really what it comes down to is who are you, what do you do, and what problem do you solve for people? But way more important than that is who the hell's your audience? Because if you don't have an audience, if you don't understand who your audience is, you're just shouting into the void and nothing's ever getting done, right?
Right.
We tell this to clients all the time. And right now in the political landscape that we're in, what was today? March 3rd?
Yes.
March 3rd, 2025. The political landscape is, again, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, you need to understand how your audience is dealing with things. And I'll go off on a limb. Probably not every business out there is going, we're only selling to Democrats. We're only selling to Republicans. You know? So,
but I guess like the thing that makes me nervous is I know how I feel about certain issues. I'm always hesitant to be like, okay, this is, you know, how I feel. I'm putting it all out there. So I'm always like kind of cautious because even though I'm not going to be like, hey, are you Democrat or Republican or something else before you write me a check? I honestly don't care. So that's why I'm like being cautious because I don't want to upset my clients if I feel a certain way and they don't. Okay. So I've been like really trying to stay away, but like at this point, it's almost like I can't not say anything. So I know you're a little bit more outspoken on your end.
I would say I'm a little more outspoken about this. So let's rewind a little bit because about a month and a half ago, or no, like 2 months ago, because it was in December when we did it, like mid-December. We did an episode called Social Media is Dead. And you were very hesitant to touch on this subject. And I was like gung-ho wanting to do this. So we came into like kind of a neutral ground and you said, Jaysin, you have to introduce this plausibly so that everyone can understand. Because I think when I first started that, I was like, everything's going bad.
Yes. For those of you who don't know, he is a very black and white person. It's like there's no shades of gray. It's either like joy or death. Well, that's it.
my mom said about 2 weeks before she passed away,
What?
My mom said, there is no numbers with you. You are either 0 miles per hour or 100 miles per hour.
Yep.
There's no slowing and there's no ramping. So let's go full steam.
Okay, here we go.
Now, because we did that episode and we got some traction for it, people watched it. Yay. I started to realize that more people need to not only hear this shit, but they need to voice their opinions too. So again, you and I are kind of at odds with how we're dealing with this. But what we really want above anything else, and I'm going to speak for you and tell me if I'm wrong.
I'll correct you, don't worry.
I know you will. Is that regardless of the shitstorm that we're seeing, in my opinion, we still want businesses to thrive. We still want small businesses to really grow and do amazing because at the end of the day, that's what we want, right?
Yeah, 100%. And also, I think what we realized is that we have to think of different ways to approach business, to sell ourselves, to sell other people that we help. So I think it's really, we're at the point where it's like we have to like figure out a whole new ball game.
We're at a precipice.
Exactly.
We've already crossed the Rubicon. There's no going back. We need to understand like what the new landscape looks like.
Less than a year ago, we were like social media. Oh, like it was nothing but, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Until it wasn't. Yes. So now we're like in person, get to, another human being and talk to them face to face.
Which brings up its own can of worms of issues. So before we go down that realm real quick, I just want to retouch on the social media is dead thing. If you haven't watched the episode out there in podcast land.
Link it?
Right here. But make sure you understand what I'm meaning by that is that social media isn't dead like it doesn't exist anymore. It's just become different than what we used it for in its origin.
Yes.
We thought Facebook was cool because we got to like hang out with friends and family and got to reconnect with people. And now it's like literally you can't scroll down your feed without seeing 2 ads, then a real post, then 2 ads, then a real post. And it's just hell.
I remember even like 5 years ago, I used to scroll through my Instagram or Facebook feed, and I'm like, I actually saw people that I wanted to see.
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, there's a wedding I did 5 years ago, and they're posting their anniversary thing, and there's some headshots. So it was just so nice to like, oh, I still remember them, and I remember how much fun it was. And it's like now I don't see anybody that I know even hardly.
No, I have on my personal Instagram, I think I'm following like 170 people. I never see any of them. I
you
never
see recommended and commercials, and that's it. Yeah.
Or I see like ad videos for like other content that I've been watching, but the algorithm is so forceful in your face that unless like I'm clicking, let's say Bob's Hardware Store, if I'm clicking on Bob's Hardware Store and actually engaging with Bob's Hardware Store, then I'll see it in my feed. But otherwise, I'm not.
Yeah.
So you're seeing this like wild backlash of money comes first. And if you're not paying for stuff, a lot of money, you're not getting seen.
No, like fuck you, you don't matter. That's
right,
it's that simple. Yeah.
So as we're getting into the political regime that we got into in January 20th, I might ruffle some feathers out there this episode.
Go for it.
If you are following anything of my personal platforms, you're already here with me. So you're going to be more ginger on this because I completely understand. I'm a little more outspoken. So ripping that Band-Aid off right now.
Go for it.
A lot of the oligarchs, a lot of the owners of the social media platforms, if not all the major ones, are now very, very close in with the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Okay. They were at the inauguration.
Yeah.
They literally were standing there.
Closer than family was.
Yeah. Yeah. Ain't that the fucking truth? So you have all these people who own basically everything we use. And sorry. Let's go through it.
Twitter/X.
So Meta. Okay. Twitter/X.
Yes.
Which is owned by Elon.
Yes. Number one most rich guy.
Then you have Meta, which owns Threads, Instagram, and Facebook, all under Zuckerberg. And then you have OpenAI, which I think has been really pulling back, but they went like all in.
But they were at the inauguration in the Billionaires Club.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
what's his name?
Oh fuck, I'm forgetting his name. He's really.
But he does OpenAI.
Yeah.
Okay.
So ChatGPT.
Okay, gotcha.
So like they're starting to pull back a little bit.
Really?
But I'm not seeing a full like left or right choice.
Okay.
But also you have Google went in. So like, Google automatically changed the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And then you have Bezos, who owns Amazon. So
basically everything we consume on a daily basis.
Yes. Yeah. Or at least the big dogs.
Yes, the big dogs.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what that tells me is that if they're all in on this, that means they're changing aspects to fit their regime. And that's not hyperbole. That's not me spitting fake news. This is actual facts. Zuckerberg came out and said, we're getting rid of all the fact checking, which blew up and really made people send out more fake news and a lot of hate speech. Like it blew up the hate speech on Facebook.
Meaning like somebody says this is a false fact that somebody posted.
Right.
You would click on report this
Right.
and there was an actual human being reviewing it. Supposedly.
I mean, really, it was AI.
But
yeah.
maybe a human being. We don't know.
Yeah.
But they just said, fuck it, we don't need that.
Correct.
So what are they doing instead?
They're letting it go free reign.
Got it. Free reign. Okay.
There's also a lot of reports of people getting auto-friended or like they auto-follow.
Got it. They're
accounts.
being added to certain accounts,
Right.
even though they didn't click on
Even
like.
though they didn't say like or follow, they're being added to Trump, they're being added to the White House, they're being added to Elon and everything else, which I think is really fucking shady.
Yeah.
Every day I go on, I check now. I
Yeah.
check if I am following those accounts
smart.
or not, and I have not. So
Nice.
after this,
Maybe.
that might be changed. So what you saw was this kind of like lashing out of like all this hate speech started coming out, but then you saw so many people posting these AI images, all these AI like photos of like soldiers holding signs and said, and now we're gonna finally get help. and like now we're finally going to get the money we deserve. And like I had family posting this shit, and then like it has a sixth finger. And it doesn't need to have a sixth finger to look at its AI. Just look at it for a little bit longer.
So meaning that there were photos coming out supporting the new regime
Yes.
and their ideas.
Yes.
And people are like, hey, look, everybody's behind it. And as
Right.
it turns out, that's AI photos,
It's
not real
fake,
photos.
And then now you can't say it's fake news anymore. So it's just a wasteland
Right.
of disinformation.
Right. And AI is so fucking good right now that
Right.
it actually looks legit unless you're paying super close
You got to pay
attention.
super
Yeah.
close attention to it. Like it's getting so good. And God, when we did the AI episode, 2 years ago, I was like, we're still ways. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. We are
Nope.
not ways off. It is
We are
here.
there. Yeah.
Whole different subject. But people are being duped into believing this shit left and right. And worse, they're spreading it.
Yes. Because I think if you see an article at this point, you might be like, oh, I wonder, is it? But like, we're so visual as human
Yeah, right,
beings.
right.
Like, if we see something that we recognize, like another human being doing something, that we're like relating with, obviously it's real because it's like you've been seeing pictures on Facebook for the last 20 years.
Bingo.
So like, we're like, okay, obviously my eyes don't lie. I'm legit looking at it. But now they do.
We've been trained.
Yes.
I mean, we're monkeys, right?
Yes.
We're primates. What's the right term? We're not monkeys. We're apes. Is
Yes.
it apes? Okay.
We're related to the apes.
We're
yes.
related to apes. Thank you. We've always been a visual species, and we did so we could survive. And like something you and I like to always talk to about clients is the first thing a human identifies
Yes.
with is
It's
another
yeah.
human.
Being, right. So like babies, when they're born, they can see about 6 inches from their face, which is exactly how close the mother is while holding the baby or feeding the baby.
Oh, I never thought
Yes.
about the distance.
That's exactly the distance. So
No
they
shit.
don't actually start seeing more than 6 inches until they're a couple months old. I think they fully get their 20/20 vision by age 1.
No kidding.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
but they
flex
only
forward.
see up to because that's all that matters
That's
at
all
that point.
matters.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, if something's going to eat you, they're going to eat you regardless. So.
Right.
So we as a human race identify with faces. So we could tell you till we're blue in the face to read more, to read more articles and books. But the human being, a everyday average human being, is going to see a photo with another face and identify it 100-fold faster than they will with data.
And let's be honest, we're all fucking lazy. We're not going to read like a 20-paragraph article where we could just look at one
yeah.
paragraph slapped over a photo or under a photo.
And-
so it's so much easier to be like, oh yeah, let me look at this. It's just like a quick 1-minute thing versus I actually have to read all this thing to make sense of it.
But
you know,
which kind of sucks because that's where the disinformation comes from. Like you can easily take a couple sentences out of whack and then post it
Yep.
on a photo.
Yep. And I think that the bad actors are actually taking advantage of this,
course they
of our
are.
laziness and of our programming.
Yep.
That's why it's so easy to manipulate people online because we're
Yes.
fucking lazy.
Yes.
I'm putting myself in that category. I'm not calling anybody else lazy.
No, I
yeah.
I get
I'm
it.
like, I'm not going to go research an article on the New York Times because I don't have the money to pay or the energy or whatever. I'm stressed out enough. But like something pops up and I'm like, especially if something that I already relate to and
Right,
agree with,
right.
like everybody should have the right to do whatever with their body. I'm like, yes, I agree with that. Click share.
Right.
Okay. So I know that that's not BS, but like there could be like other things underneath there that I didn't have a chance to read and explore and make sense of. But it was so fucking easy just to say, yes, I agree and share.
Yeah. I mean, it's like scrolling through Reddit, right?
Yeah.
Which is another thing that I think a lot of businesses don't know is Reddit is a social media. It is hands down. Some of the best marketing I've ever seen
100%.
is on Reddit.
And some of the most brilliant people.
Oh, it's
the
so
problem
clever.
is there's so many millions of people,
Yes.
you really have to like do your homework. Yeah.
So, anyway, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, Reddit is so easy to scroll through your feed and then just believe whatever's being said. And I've really tried. I would say easily 75% of the time I will click on the actual article, not reading what they say, not reading the comments. I will read the actual article.
Okay.
If there's a paywall, for those of you out there who don't know what a paywall is, when you go to a website and it blocks you saying, hey, do you want to subscribe? I'm sorry, yes, these people do deserve money for their job. Journalists deserve money, I think, more than anybody else.
Agreed.
But right now, I need information, and I need to know if it's real or not. So there are wonderful websites. I will link down one in the description below that you can put this in, put the website in the URL, and boom.
Like they fact check it immediately?
No,
or
this
what?
bypasses the paywall.
Oh,
so I can read
see.
the article.
So like I can click on the New York Times and like I can actually read it without having
actually
to
read it.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome.
It is awesome, but like if you find a news source that you actually give a shit about, fund it.
Yeah.
Like I donate to Midas Touch because Midas Touch has an attitude. I love their attitude. That's like the first thing. But then I love that they're constantly giving me updated information. And I also donate to the Lincoln Project because Lincoln Project doesn't have any breaks. And I want them to go full steam like me, 0 or 100. And Rick, oh my God, Rick is my spirit animal. So,
Okay.
so, but the other 25% of the time, like I've been shotgunned to the face with all this negative information that I'm just going to believe it right off the fucking bat. And I don't want to do that. I want to be educated. I want to read. I want to look at an article and go, wait, hold on. First off, who published this? Who owns that publisher?
Yep.
And what do they have to gain from it?
Yep.
This is marketing 101, right? Like, let's bring it back to what's your brand? Who's your audience? What's your goal? That's marketing 101. And then you move it over to the audience side. Who's selling me this?
Yep.
What's the purpose of selling me this? And what do they have to gain? So it's a middle of the road.
Can I give one of my favorite examples? Like when I finally understood this, I was like, duh. But I just have to say it for the people that don't yet know. When Facebook first started, it was just like a fun thing, college connection, whatever. And then he made it into Facebook, right? And then everybody started signing up. Like I personally know of at least 10 people that I convinced in 2009, 2010 to get on Facebook because it's so much fun. Okay. So I'm like, this is great. And we were like chatting away for years and years until, okay. So I don't know if everybody understands that the reason Facebook is free to us is because they are harnessing our data, harvesting our data, our clicks, our likes, our what do we like, what do we don't like, what private messages. They are reading fucking everything.
Right.
And tell the good people what they do with that data.
So this is where we kind of run into a conundrum because we do work in marketing. Now, we don't buy this information, but they are definitely selling it to marketing agencies. They're selling it. Everything you clicked on, every lingering second you slowed down while scrolling through, a private message has never been private. They can say all they want about being encrypted. I'm sorry, it is not.
Yeah. Do you ever wonder why your targeted ads are targeted? That's why.
Have you? Okay, I guarantee this has happened to more people than I think it is. But how many times have you like been talking a conversation like Hilda, like we're talking right now, and then like later that night you'll be scrolling on Facebook and you'll see an ad for what you talked about, and you've never looked for it online.
We talked about a new lens that was coming out. Yes, and suddenly I'm like, I never even looked up this lens ever because I just you literally told me about it that day.
Right.
And then suddenly here it is just feeding me the lens.
Or like, hey, my friend wants to go camping next summer. He says it's going to be great. And now I'm looking at like camping gear, right?
Yeah.
That's because your mic's on. Your mic's
all the
on.
time.
All the time.
All the time.
And you can turn it off really easy. I have mine set up on my main page. So literally I hit my settings. Right here, I click to privacy, security, go boom, advanced, and I turn off my microphone. It's kind of annoying to go through all those steps, but there are apps that do it for you. But I don't trust those apps to do it right. So I'm going to turn it off. Now, does that mean the mic is 100% off? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I haven't been getting ads lately.
Interesting.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
So, but Hilda, sorry,
Okay.
I went off on a tangent.
All right.
They are harvesting information.
Yes.
They are harvesting your information in order to sell to you. Now,
I think you can also turn it off on Facebook. Like you can go into your settings. I still wouldn't trust it, but whatever. I don't really care.
I did that anyway.
Yeah.
And I will link to how you can do it in the
Oh,
description.
perfect.
Below.
Perfect. But let's not forget, we want to talk about.
Let me write down what we're linking. Okay. So I don't forget.
I want to go back to if businesses, small businesses, big businesses, whatever, like if they should be open politically at the risk of losing clients or gaining clients, if, they're on the, I don't know. So I know we kind of are somewhat on the opposite side. For me, I don't want to upset anyone. I guess it comes with like being a people pleaser and a woman and all that. So it's like, I don't want to ruffle feathers. I don't want any fights. I don't want any, mess. It's like, sometimes when I just share a meme, I still get enough BS where I'm like, okay, I have to delete this now. It's like, really. So I'm super cautious, even though most people who know me know that I am for the blue team. Let's just leave it at that,
Okay. I'm a Capricorn. I'm stubborn as hell. I'm horny in the idea of the goat. And I'm what's called a challenger. If ruffles are going to be ruffled, if feathers are going to be ruffled, Hilda,
okay,
call me the ruffles.
Should I call you Ruffles?
Call me ruffles.
I wish somebody would have told me about this personality trait you have about challenging people before I really got into business with you, because that was like our major conflicts.
Oh,
yeah.
We between you and me.
Yes,
Yeah.
Like you like pushing,
I
and it's
do.
like, and sometimes, if my mood was correct that day,
right.
I came up with great ideas because you pushed me exactly the right way. But
And then I pushed a little too far.
and I was
or
like,
I pushed in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I didn't get enough sleep or whatever. I was PMSy that day, and it's like, here come the tears, and you're like, what the fuck happened? So sorry about that.
But we're working through that.
Yes,
As all businesses do. As
you
all
haven't made me
friendships do.
cry in like 2 years.
Oh my God. Wait, 2
Amazing.
years? Has it been 2 years?
I know.
We're growing.
Yay. Okay.
So should businesses be afraid to post on social? Or how can they?
But here's
how
the thing
should
too.
they?
But like, you're not posting as your business. You're posting as Jaysin.
Let's
so
jump into this.
Tell me about that.
Okay, so on Facebook, Instagram, on all my personal accounts, I'm posting very sided views, and I am challenging people to conversations. I'm challenging people to talk. And literally, if I see any hate speech, I'm fucking done. I am tired of it. I do not want this toxic stuff in my life. They're gone.
So you unfriend and unfollow?
I unfriend, unfollow, and I'm done. I don't feel bad about it. I'm not going to hook up with these people again if things ever get good again. I don't want that shit in my life. I'm sorry.
Makes sense.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
Yep.
So as for a business, I understand you need to be delicate as to not piss people off to the point where, hey, there's a brick coming through my window and then my family's in danger. So where's the line? How do you do it? There is basically 3 rules of thought, and we posted about this maybe like 6 or 7 months ago.
Okay.
The common 3 rules of thought when it comes to political marketing is either shove your head in the sand. And I know that sounds bad, but just pretend it's not happening.
The whole political...
The whole thing. It's not happening.
Okay.
Go about your business.
Gotcha.
You're selling chips, so sell chips because chips are good no matter who eats them, right?
Yeah.
You can totally abstain from it, but acknowledge it, saying like, hey, we understand shit's going on. There's no shit over here. Why don't you come here and say, enough of that.
Yeah.
I know you're tired of hearing this every day. Why don't you come over here and have some chips?
Okay, hold that thought. By the way, if you're tired of the political shit and you want to come to my studio to do a boudoir session, link below.
Okay. And if you're ready to do the third option,
What's the third option?
go all in and plant your feet in the sand and stand tall on your opinions. Now, things that have helped or things that have happened from this, when people have done this, you've seen pluses and negatives depending on the audience. There is a spice company called Penzies. Now, I have never heard of them before. Apparently, they're really well known. But after the GOP convention, RNC, thank you. They came out with a beautiful, like 10 paragraph blog post that basically said, we're done. We're done placating to these people who just spout hate, and we don't want to work with you. Now, if you want to come here and buy our spices, that's great. But we're not going to kowtow to you. We're not going to speak your language, and we're not going to be nice about it. And I can't speak for the world, but I can speak for their market share because their shit skyrocketed. And a company I've never heard of before, I spent $300 on spices, and there's a cup right behind you that I bought from them.
Nice.
So it's
and
like,
I think you told me about it like 4 or 5 times.
oh
so,
yeah. And then I shared it. It's like
you tell everybody
a spice
about it.
company.
Yep.
Not something I'm going to really go out of my way for, right? And then,
And it's not, okay, let's just be clear. It's not just that they agree with your point of view, but how they took that stand.
thank you.
Okay.
It was not, we hate them.
Yes.
And that is, I think, the big dichotomy between the two sides of this. And you're going to see that more and more in their marketing.
Yes.
You're going to see this in their video and photo content, where it's the left side on average is going to be more, look, we're anti this stance. We're anti the hate. We're anti what you're trying to do. We're not anti people.
Yeah.
We're not anti human being.
Yeah.
Okay. The other side, again, this is from, I'm reading every comment I get. I'm reading all these articles, and it's constant hate towards people. It's targeting
If you're not like
people.
us.
If you're not like us.
Don't even bother
Right.
existing. Yeah.
So I'm betting, this is what I'm putting my chips into, is you're going to see those kind of marketing things. And you already are. Like, if you want to take a great example that we never talked about, but I always wanted to talk about during lead up to the election.
Okay.
Leading up to the election for months, you and I were talking about this, but we never talked about it on the show, was that the Democrats were doing a horrible job. As much as I was like, rah, rah, sis, boom, bah, this, I'm happy that we're dealing with joy and people and blah, blah. They only ever talked about facts. They only ever talked about details, and they wanted to like look at what the right wing was doing and going, well, we got to do the opposite of that. We got to do the opposite. And then the right wing was doing nothing but stories.
And that's what I think worked so fucking beautifully for them. I think that's
Yes.
why because they told the story that people could relate to or would want to relate to eventually.
yeah.
So it gave them the good feelings that
Right.
validated
Right.
them. That's why everybody fucking ran out and voted for him, because he gave the story that they wanted to hear and relate to.
Bingo.
And the Democrats didn't.
And what do we always say?
Facts tell, stories sell.
Right. If you want to sell your business, you want to sell your brand, you want to sell your product, tell a story. A story does not need to be Margaret went to the store, Margaret bought a pie, Margaret came home and ate the pie. That's not a story. A story is how you feel about something. A story is an experience. A story is an emotional connection to a brand, not the product.
Correct. So you just use Margaret and pie. So give me a 1-sentence story about Margaret and the pie.
Margaret, knowing that her family was coming to dinner tonight, knew that she wanted no political arguments at the dinner, and she knew the perfect way to squash any opposing argument before it even began. Pie.
Nice.
Everyone's mouth is filled. They can't argue.
And everyone's happy.
Margaret has a nice meal. So
Love it. Love
oh
it.
my God.
You're good at
it's
that.
like I should get paid for these ideas.
Huh.
So when you tell a story, you're engaging the emotional being of the audience. And that's where the Democrats went wrong, is they focused too much on the facts. And while it was wonderful to understand it, no one could relate to it, like on an emotional
Right.
story level.
Yes, because those like okay, facts are facts. That's fun, but it's like the facts don't make you feel anything.
Right. Now, granted, it can make it can identify with a feeling you have.
Right.
Like 45% of this does this. And it's like, well, I'm not part of that 45, blah, blah.
Right.
So
But if you're gonna change minds,
There it is.
you need the heartstrings and
it
the
is.
feelings 100%.
like
yeah.
what makes you feel more? Shawshank Redemption or Warriors We Were? Or we were warriors.
Definitely Shawshank. Like
Yeah.
Shawshank wins every time. Like
Oh, Shawshank wins like every time with any combination.
Pretty much.
But like because you give a shit.
yeah.
You give a shit about the journey, about the story, about the evolution. So that's one thing, right? And I think there's a lot more reasons why they won. Like, they have a hierarchy. Democrats didn't have a hierarchy. But let's bring it back to social media because
Okay.
I know that was a tangent.
That was a tangent, but
For
it was
the
a good
ages.
tangent, nevertheless. Yes. So I still don't. I post political stuff on my personal Facebook, but very light political stuff. Like, you could take it either way, and I'm still like trying to be sweet, but you're just like balls to the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck you all if you don't like it. Too bad.
Well,
basically.
no, it's not fuck you. It's here's our feelings. Here's what's actually happening. Here's facts, but here's how we feel about it. And here's the story.
Right.
Right. I've never once said fuck you. I have said you're scum,
Gotcha.
which I guess is the same
And
thing.
I absolutely love the very detailed longhand argument that you come back with. Is just like reading it. I'm sorry, it gives me joy.
I get fueled, man, when someone argues with me.
Yeah, especially when they don't have the facts. like, oh man.
Oh, speaking of which, I did. That just happened not that long ago. Someone argued back with me, so I stated my opinion to him in a 8-paragraph retort, and then like the very last thing was I eloquently said, "Shut the fuck up and sit down," because adults are talking here. And then he wrote back with a very condescending thing that I can't find anymore.
Because he deleted
I
it?
think he deleted it.
Oh, bummer.
So, and then I unfriended him. So, no more toxicity in my life.
There we go.
But what are we doing on our Eo7?
Not that.
Now, not that. But should we?
No.
Why?
Because, let's be honest, money's money and we need it. Okay. So, unless a business comes at me saying, I want you to film hateful things or something like that, then definitely no. But it's like if we're just shooting something and they're going to write us a big check, I'm sorry, for right now, we need the money.
So let's be candid about
Okay.
this because I'm sorry, I'm not trying to put on a mask with this.
we're over it.
You and I went through some family shit in the last few months that was absolutely
Yep.
fucking devastating.
Yep.
We lost loved ones and it was soul crushing. And because of this, our business faltered immensely.
Yep. We could barely function, let alone focus
Right,
on
like
business.
like personal life,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
dead, but like business was a big back burner. Like
Yeah.
family came very, very first right now.
Yeah.
So our Instagram hasn't been updated in months. Our YouTube, which my plan going into this year was 3 episodes of something every week.
Calm down there, buddy.
No. I'm just saying, like, I have goals.
Yeah, I know.
I have a vision. And that got put on the back burner because family.
Yep.
Right? And family
And
comes
that's
first.
totally okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
neglecting my family for my
No.
business. I love my business.
Yeah.
I love my clients, but I'm sorry,
Yeah.
my family has to come first.
100%.
I partly agree with you with the marketing aspect. I don't want to say, fuck you, mega Eo7, but I kind of do.
I know.
But I'm not going to.
Yep.
Because I see it. I want to try and be more professional. I will be snarky. I won't hide that. But I'm going to treat a client the same way I would treat the electrician who came into my house and saw I was white and he was a white guy, and then immediately started talking shit about the black people that he just helped. And I immediately grabbed his case, gave it back to him and said, you gotta go.
Yep.
And I'm sorry.
No, 100%.
If I'm not going to work with someone. I'm not going to spend time and effort. And let's be honest, when we do a video shoot, it's not a one and done thing. We spend time on it. And I don't want to be sitting here for 20, 30, 40 hours fuming.
Despising somebody.
Despising
Agreed.
them.
Agreed,
So
100%.
if we have a conservative client, that's fine. That's fine. Because I honestly believe that there are good people.
100%.
Some people made bad decisions. Some people
Absolutely.
just didn't fucking know.
Right.
Some people they did it for the wrong reasons.
Right.
Or in their mind, it was
Right.
the right reason.
Right.
But unfortunately, a lot more shit has come through the political pipeline than they expected. My dad was he still is hardcore right-wing conservative, but his biggest issue was economy and the national debt. And since those things are not being truly done, he is devaluing the people in office. Now, he does say that he wants to take his time and give them a chance because he does have the back history with it.
Of course. But fucking kudos to your dad
But
that he's
fucking kudos.
open-minded enough to like entertain that, hey, maybe there's more to this, and he listened to you
Yes.
and everything. And kudos to you for not being like, you gotta believe this or whatever. You were very delicate with the whole thing. Like
I was
you
on
didn't
the phone with them,
Yeah.
which I feel bad about to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm so like,
You're very passionate.
since July, when my mom got diagnosed, it was just like, oh, I need to read more. So, because my mom was like turbo left wing. So she gave me books, she gave me news articles, she gave me documentaries, and I did a lot of research. And you start to get fueled by it. And then you start to see your loved ones going down the opposite path. And all you want to say is, look, here's information. Just please read it.
Yeah. And honestly, I have seen a lot more people be like, okay, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I didn't see the whole picture. It was just like, I like most of what they said, so I went along with it, and I get it. I am exactly like that. Like I'm sorry, I have to admit this out loud. I don't do enough research to have like a completely, educated opinion on it. Okay. So I
you still have an opinion.
I do.
That's
I do.
valid and worthy.
I know, but it's like I know like the main things that and I will never like give up my right to decide what to do with my body. So that's
You're damn
it's
right.
pretty fucking obvious where I'm gonna go with that,
Right.
But I do appreciate like the people that I'm close with, like you and Andrea. You guys like are up on the politics and you give me like the highlights and stuff, so it's like, and I still listen to like news and stuff like on the radio when I'm around, but it's like I just can't drown myself in it because I get so depressed.
Well, so there's also, there's a, hold on. Sorry, I just want to make sure it's still recording.
Okay.
There is a thing called burnout, right? Like, you remember during COVID, there was the burnout feature, or the feature, Jesus Christ, like we're software. There is a burnout effect on an audience where like you wake up every day, you hear about COVID, and it's like, oh my God, you're so tired of it. And just like Trump's first 4 years, it was like, I'm so tired of it. So when he did something stupid, it was just like, okay.
Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to do right now.
They're trying to make us so fucking tired of the news that we don't pay attention so they could do whatever the fuck they want.
So we don't stand up and do something about it, which is a marketing tactic. Think about this. They are doing what Coke does to you, right? Coke, and I love using this example because everyone's seen a Coke commercial in some fashion.
Right.
If you've gone to the movies, you've seen a Coke commercial. So Coke doesn't need to advertise. They're so huge, but they do it to bombard you into not only thinking that they're the only soft drink to drink, and I love the word soft drink, by the way. It's sugar water. That's it. It's sugar. And I say that fully fucking drinking.
But at least
pop.
it's diet.
Yeah. So thank you for giving me that little ledge of hope there. But they bombard you with, not only are they the only pop, but they're also the only drink. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to the South of America, Alabama, Georgia. They don't call things pop or soda.
They call it a Coke?
They call it a Coke.
Yeah. And even in Mexico, they say you want a Coca, which means a Coca-Cola,
Right,
which means anything to drink pretty
Okay,
much.
there you go.
Yeah.
Because, people in the South, they say, well, I want a Sprite Coke.
What's
or
a Sprite Coke?
A Sprite.
Oh, but Coke is like a Sprite
Coke
drink.
is synonymous
oh my God.
for drink.
Wow.
For pop.
Wow.
Right, soda. They have, I want a Dr. Pepper Coke. I want blah, blah, blah. Coke has become Kleenex. It's become Xerox. It's become
Q-tip.
Band-Aid.
Yeah.
So if you do that, if you bombard your audience with this information, your mind starts to change. You start to evolve as a client, as the audience. So if they're bombarding us with all this information, all this drama, all this fear,
Yeah.
then we're exhausted, we're tired, and we're not going to A, see what's coming next, B, react to it.
Because we're just fucking tired.
Because we're just fucking tired. And okay, another great example of this, if you want to get off the political chain.
Yes.
How do you feel about Marvel movies now?
It depends on the movie. I like some.
Like, really? So, like, if you see a new trailer for a new movie, how are you going to feel?
Kind of meh, because I've seen so many. Okay, I see your
There
point.
it is.
Yeah.
They've overstayed their welcome.
Yes. Like, it would have to be something incredible for me to even pay attention to
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And let's be honest, like, I really loved the Captain America TV show with Sam and Bucky.
Okay.
I loved their push with the whole black culture and having the original black Captain America. Spoiler alert, don't care, watch it, it's awesome. But then they did the movie and I watched the trailer and I was like, I don't give a shit about any of this. This is boring. And I loved what they did. And then the direct next part, couldn't give a shit less.
Why do you think that is?
I'm tired. I'm exhausted of the same shit over and over. Have you realized, like, over the past, like, I would say 15 to 20 years, Hollywood movies have become giant or micro.
yeah.
We
There's
don't
no
have
in
those
between.
middle range
Yes.
anymore. We don't have the fight clubs. We don't have these, like, really intelligent, but, like, big budget ideas with medium budget prices. Now we have the $250 million blockbusters, or hope for blockbuster, or this guy made a horror movie that we're going to try and push out because, need more shit at the theater and we can't afford to make other movies. Anyway, sorry. That's
Okay, so that's because we're numb to the same old shit. Okay,
It's
got
the
it.
same shit over and over.
Yeah.
And so when a new Marvel movie comes out, I mean, I'm sure there's fans out there, like there is for other things. But how many people are going to go, yeah, this is amazing? No, most people are going to go, oh, fuck, I have to go watch another one?
Yeah, like
I don't want
when
to.
they keep coming out with new Spider-Man movies, I'm like, another one?
Well,
like, seriously?
You bite your tongue there, woman, because
I know, the last one was the best, no doubt.
I know a lot of people hated it.
Oh my God.
That was my fucking jam right there.
No,
that
that's
was my
favorite
Schmuckers
of
right
all
there.
time. Yes. Like all the other ones
so
don't
good.
even compare. 100% agree.
Well, hold on.
No, I'm sorry.
Another podcast.
Okay.
Another time. Hey, everyone. Again, I want to let you know that this is where the audio starts to have trouble. So please bear with us as we get through the rest of today's episode. You're like, we'll take over then.
Take over. No. Okay, so I still believe that I don't know. After you told me about the Spice Guy, now I'm kind of rethinking it. So it's like, for me, it's just going to be neutral city because I'm too nervous to do otherwise, and that's what works for me.
Mm-hmm.
And for you?
While I'm not going to go full steam as I do in my personal life, I do believe it's important to bring up. For instance, we're doing this episode. This is our marketing for our business, right? Mm-hmm. You get to know who we are. You get to know that we understand and we do know what the hell we're talking about.
At the same time, though, we're taking a giant risk.
We are taking a giant risk.
Losing potential money
We are.
by upsetting people with our views.
And that's true. And that sucks. It really does. Because I do believe there are people out there who just fucked up. Mm-hmm. Or, in my opinion,
yes,
fucked up.
exactly.
Right?
But if you're gonna side with hate, if you're right now, if you are still full steam into it, I don't want your business.
Exactly. If Elon is the smartest, most genius person, and Trump is always right, then no, thank you.
If it's okay to discriminate against trans people just because of who they are, sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I don't want your business.
Yep. Or tell me what to do with my body.
So yeah, and that's it. That's what it boils down to. People are people. Let people be people, and not just behind closed doors. Let them be fucking people.
And I just want to say a little sidebar for everybody. It's like, talking like when Bernie Sanders was running for a while, was like, oh, like communism, blah blah blah. I just want to say, just a little sidebar, not the whole thing.
Okay.
The whole, deciding for your own body and communism. I came from communism when I was a child, but my mother told me later that once a month at her work, she had to go to submit to a gynae test. Meaning she had to get up on the table in stirrups, and somebody went up her hoo-ha to check to see if she's pregnant, because there was no pee in the stick type of things, okay? So that's fucking communism. That's where we are looking to go to if we don't cut this shit out. Like, you want to go to work and put your feet in the stirrups to make sure that, and of course, once you're pregnant, they literally force you to have the baby because the leader needs more soldiers, okay? So that's where I come from. So I totally, 100%, without a doubt, will always be for women's rights.
So, I mean, I've been wanting to talk to you about this for years.
Yeah. So that was just some highlights, but that was some bullshit that nobody needs to go through. Like, we're already like driving to other states to get abortions, or like women are dying. So I'm like,
women are dying in parking lots. Wait.
Yeah, and it's honestly, if you told me 5 years ago that this is where we would be right now, I would have called you a liar and I would have laughed in your face, because the United States of America that I love doesn't allow this shit. Like, now it's starting to feel like what I ran away from. So
yes, I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole with this because I know you don't want to talk about it, but I'm sorry, no one else knows this better than you.
I literally know. Like, everything else is like, oh, it could be this or it could be that. I'm like, I legit know what it was. Okay, and he didn't just, Ceausescu didn't wake up one day and be like, well, I'm going to crawl up every woman's vagina once a month to make sure I have soldiers. It slowly got to that point over years, but it'll get there unless you're careful.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah. There's a reason the lights in the front of my house are all rainbow color.
Actually, my mother almost got arrested because either she had a miscarriage or an illegal abortion, and she actually had to have one of her friends sign an affidavit that she witnessed it, that it wasn't like, or both of them would have went to jail or something. Like, she had to find somebody to save her ass, sign a government document saying, oh yeah, I know, like, I was there when she had a miscarriage. It wasn't anything.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So like, you had to make sure that your friends were solid because they could literally save your life.
A lot of people have been saying how they feel like we're going into this like draconic. What's the name of the show in the book? About the women who are just. I'm not good at Jeopardy because of this.
It's on Hulu. Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale.
Oh my fucking God! My brain just like.
Yeah, no. See,
I am so sorry.
So everyone says like, oh, we're headed towards Handmaid's Tale. Yeah. It's not a joke. It's not they won't come for me. Yeah. So I don't want this to get political. That's my other podcast. If you're really interested, you can come listen to Buttertown, and that's a whole other thing.
I think if you didn't want this to be political,
Oh, sorry. Okay, pulling it back.
Okay.
Businesses and social media. I'm not going to tell anyone what they should and shouldn't do.
We are talking about political things as they relate to businesses.
Correct. So, like I said, I'm not going to tell anyone what to do or what not to do, because it comes down to three things. What is your brand? What is your goal? And who's your audience? So like, you need to know, let's say for shits and giggles, the grand majority of your audience are women. Women in their, say, 20s to 30s, women who are having children or have the biological ability to have children. Maybe by saying we support the other side, you're probably going to turn off a lot of your audience because they're saying, well, I want rights to my own physical body.
Yep. I agree.
I think that'll turn people
Yeah.
off. So
And
understanding those three things.
Exactly. And if you're marketing towards baby boomers that are mostly white, obviously being on the other side, you know, for Trump and company, it's like you don't have anything to risk because 90% of them are going to be your target market.
And that's super true.
Yeah.
You know, that's like years before now, whenever politicians, regardless of stance or type, whatever, they always marketed themselves toward the old people because in droves,
they're the
old
ones who
people vote.
Which we should fix. Pay attention. Although my son's generation votes, I think, really a lot, but I'm not sure. I have to look at statistics. Maybe they don't.
There was a lot of apathy in this last. Like a lot of people say, like, well, the grand majority of the population voted. It's like, no, they didn't. It was something like.
What percentage voted? You know?
I might be wrong with this stat, but last time I heard was 45% did not vote
Of the entire U.S.
of
population.
the U.S. population.
That's embarrassing. I'm sorry.
That's staggering.
Yeah. Because an additional 10% would have been the deciding factor the other way.
It would have been wild.
Or less than even 10%.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a huge number of apathy. Okay, and I will admit this. When Trump was coming into office the first time, I didn't vote for him, but I did go, you know what? Maybe some shakeup is okay. Maybe some business ethics. This is before I knew anything about him, before I knew he never.
And I
ran a
honestly
successful
could
business.
see why people voted for him the first time around. Honestly.
I get it.
Yeah.
I actually do.
He told it
He's
like it
piece
is.
Piece of shit.
It
but
doesn't
still.
matter. Yeah. Like, and even though he offended me on many levels, I'm like, he is so raw, you know, that I'm like, I can see it, you know, like, not the typical
the whole tell it like
politician.
it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna push this out to everyone who's watching this right now. I'm sorry, I'm telling you like it is. So if that is your deciding vote, we're gonna be friends, regardless of your personal political view. If that's why you voted for a person to be in office because he tells it like it is, I'm not holding back anymore. I'm fucking done. I care about other human beings. I care about the well-being of women and people who just want the fucking right or the ability to live. It's fucking disgusting that oh my God, I'm going down a path right now. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's okay.
It's a very heated culture. This is also another reason why we haven't done a lot of podcasts lately, because this is where I'm at mentally.
Yep. And I'm at the point where I'm like, I honestly don't care if we piss you off.
Oh,
because
okay. I was going to say, like, that shocked me for a second.
No, like, yeah. So I'm not going to get as excited as you are, but it's like, yeah, I don't give a shit if, like, somebody won't hire us because of our opinion.
Right.
Don't care.
So how do we reflect that in our marketing on social media? So
that's why I said, let's not post anything political on social media, and we're just going to stick to neutral and business stuff, except for you, which is fine.
No. I don't mean me. Like, what's this? This is our marketing.
Yes. Okay. But will this be on Instagram too?
Does it matter?
On Facebook? Yes, it kind of does.
It could.
Okay. I don't know why. I feel like if it's a podcast, it's more okay to have opinions like this because this is our get to know us. This is our personality, right? I would say
we cut down stuff from this.
Right, but I think most of our clients already know who we are, and
that's our clients.
That's true. I don't know.
For a business to grow, you need
to
constantly get new clients.
Yeah.
Because if you just rely on previous clients, you're never going to grow.
I know. Okay, I don't know. That's why I don't know. I'm feeling all sorts of ways about it, you know. So
I know, and that's what it is right there. I think that's what it boils down to. Is we have, as a business owner collective, we as business owners feel like there is a dichotomy between our business, our professional business, whatever that business is, and who we are as a human being. And where can they coexist? Where can they line up? Like some people could go all in on one side, the business, themselves, cool. But what I would say as a person who deals with branding and marketing is, are you the brand, or is your business the brand? And then you need to kind of like understand where that coexists, because those are two different philosophies.
Right.
Again, I'm not going as hard as I do on my personal information,
Right.
but I'm also not going to stand for bullshit. I'm not going to stand for the negativity.
I agree. So I think if asked directly, I will say, hey, this is where I stand and whatever, but I'm not going to go out of my way to make my business posts political. But if you are on my personal page, you're going to hear what I want to say. So if you don't like
let's
it.
get out of the personal realm.
Okay.
'Cause I think we keep like
Okay.
using that as crutches.
Okay.
Like
Like, for example, use like Eo7
Yeah.
Media on Instagram.
Yeah.
I will, unless you post, I will refuse to post anything political. We're just going to stick to business.
Okay, so right now we haven't posted
In
in a while.
Yeah, but I still want to just stick to business.
Now, do you want to keep that? Like what we do on Instagram is we have 3 images that all correlate
Yeah.
and stand alone by themselves. Do you want to keep that format up?
I like it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
like even if we get rid of the video, because
Yeah.
I don't think the video
Yeah,
is doing
no.
anything, but just post that 3
Yes.
thing
Yes.
and then treat it more like a portfolio.
Yes.
Or would you want to say, cool, that was a fun experiment, and then move on to, because if you notice, the layout of Instagram changed, by the way.
I did, which shuffled some of our shit around, which kind of pissed me off.
Well, it doesn't shuffle it. It changed the aspect ratio of the
Oh,
image.
that's why it looks weird. Okay.
The images used to be 1-to-1.
That's right. Okay.
Now it's a little more
yeah.
vertical.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's like 1 to like 1.2. It's really weird.
All right, anyway.
But anyway, yeah, none of the images line up. So we can say, cool experiment. Let's go back to doing something that
Just
you actually
single?
enjoy and single, but like posting more of what we believe in. Being like, hey,
But even before this political season, we didn't talk politics. We did not. Nope, we did not.
but we went through a rebrand though. We went through like, well, where are we at? And then we were just finding our brand
Okay.
as we were like, okay, now we understand how all this works.
Yeah.
Let's actually sit down and
Yeah.
do the legwork. And
Yeah.
then we started doing that, 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And then it was full steam
Mhm.
from there.
I still don't want to post anything political saying we believe X or, we think Y is better or whatever. I am okay with us sitting down, talking,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
taking
yeah.
snippets of it
Okay.
because I feel like that's my personality, not my business.
Okay.
Okay.
That's that's super
Does that make sense?
interesting, and it makes sense.
Okay.
But I also, to your credit,
Mhm.
I think that's smart depending on the platform.
Mm.
Now, something we always tell clients when we sit down with them is not every platform is the same.
Mhm.
Your audience isn't the same.
Mhm.
For example, I post to my personal Instagram. I know I said no more personal, but
Yeah.
I want this as a good example.
Mhm.
I post to my personal Instagram probably like 4 to 8 times per day.
Mm.
Okay. Screenshots, facts, cool stories, whatever. Mostly heavily political. Okay.
Mhm.
And then I maybe get a like,
Mhm.
maybe 2 likes a
Right.
day. But
Right.
then on Facebook, I'll post maybe once a day, maybe once every 2 or 3 days. And
You have a lot more.
I have a
likes.
lot
Yeah.
more engagement.
However, your Instagram profile is a lot newer than you have more followers on Facebook than you do on Instagram.
Fair. My Instagram's probably like 10 years old.
Yeah, but how
And the
many
f-
followers do you have?
I've never
I think
looked.
around a 150 last
Okay,
time I looked.
I literally
Yeah,
I'm
and you
not
have,
paying
like,
attention. If it's
a lot
not
more
business,
friends, yeah.
I'm not interested.
Yeah.
But Facebook is good for communities.
Mhm.
Facebook is good for close by. Facebook is good for people you basically think of it like a neighborhood,
Mhm.
right? Instagram is the art gallery down the street
Yep.
that you get to look at shit and then leave.
Mhm.
So I don't see a lot of engagement. Like even when I go to like the pages that I enjoy, like the artists I enjoy, I don't see a lot of engagement on Instagram anymore.
Yeah. Because I think it's so many steps to actually get to the comments that you're interested in reading.
Oh, it's so much
Or
work.
it's and then on Facebook it's a lot easier because
Yeah.
the most voted ones are higher up, or you could sort it by all the comments or whatever. So it's easier just to get to the comments, I think. And
That
it feels
makes
like
good
it's more of a communication platform
Yes, it
than
does.
like a visual. Yeah.
Yeah, and I see that exact same mentality with YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
but I see YouTube being a more global scale, and it's like Facebook but big.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You have that connection, you have that engagement if you make something of value.
Right.
And Facebook, I don't think you have to have value. I think you just have to like shell shit
Yeah.
out.
I think you
for
have
your marketing,
to,
you have to have value.
like, I think Facebook shows value by like how pissed off they can get you.
Well, I definitely think
Yeah.
that's a tool that
Because
can be
like
used.
the more pissed off you are, the more engaged you are, the more comments you get, the more Facebook
Definitely
money
true.
they make.
One of my favorite podcasts for a long time. I hated the host. The only person who spoke on the show, I hated him.
Okay.
I liked what he said. I liked the information he gave.
Uh-huh.
But every time he would voice an opinion on something, I wanted to smack him so hard.
What was it about him that you wanted to smack?
I didn't like all of his opinions, but that didn't matter so much to me. But the way he would criticize and demonize anyone who was against his opinions insulted me. So
Ooh.
like, I'm just going to make up an example
Okay.
because I can't come up with anything off the top of my head. So he's like, I'm watching this new show on Netflix. It's the best show ever. And if you like this other show that's like not so popular, you're an idiot. You're stupid and you don't know what taste is.
Oh.
And like, I got so turned off that I had to just stop listening to this podcast, even though it was like, he had 3 episodes a week. It was great. It was great information for marketing, but I hated the human. So when you hate something too much, I think you can instigate with them. You can lash out and like want to engage negatively. But I think that shit eventually drains you.
Yes.
And then you just go, no, I don't want to deal with this anymore. So engagement is engagement, right? But if you keep going for the hate stuff, you're just going to drive people away. People who actually like your shit are going to just go. Like, I got other shit to do. I got other
Right.
shows to listen to.
Right. Agreed.
So,
So basically, our advice is think about your brand and how you want it to represent you, and think about if you are separate from your brand, first of all.
that's
two
a good
different
point.
accounts. Yeah. And if you are your brand, we caution you to be a little bit more on the neutral side.
I don't.
I do. I
Okay.
do. That's fine. But if you really want to make a stance, that's one way to get attention.
Now,
Right.
I also say, like, I'm not judging to say go all in or out without going through the 3 steps.
Yes. Which you want to repeat again?
You have to
please?
know your brand.
brand.
Okay? Who is your brand? What does it say? What's your brand voice? What's your identity? Go through the entire list. If you don't have that list, contact us. We can sit down with you and give you a free hour consultation and walk you through exactly what that list should be for your branding. Number 2, what is your goal? What are you trying to do? Yes, we're all trying to advertise to the world and make tons of money and blow up, but there's got to be a specific way on how you release marketing, and it has to be for a specific reason.
Can you give us an example?
For an example, maybe you want brand awareness. Okay, you're not trying to get people in the door with brand awareness.
You just want the brand to be known,
Right?
and seen. Okay.
So all your marketing for that campaign is all about brand awareness. You want people to know who you are.
Gotcha.
That's it. Okay. Now you can have multiple campaigns at the same time. You're just doing a lot more work.
Gotcha.
That's why you hire us here at Eo7 and back off the soapbox. But then you can have a marketing campaign for getting people in the door. Like getting them actually in the door. Hey, we're having Blockbuster sale. Hey, come on in. We'll do this. Blah blah.
Yeah.
And that's not for brand awareness because you're not trying to get your branding out there. You're trying to get them in the fucking door.
Yeah.
And there's all these different levels, right? And then eventually the goal is to make a sale. That's how businesses stay open.
Yeah.
Right. So then the third thing. So what's your brand? What's your goal? And who's your audience? And if you know who your audience is, speaking to them, you already know how to speak to them. Our target market are business owners. Now, regardless if you're a business owner or not, you at least have the mindset that if you just sat here for an hour listening to me ramble and Hilda try to rein me in on some reasonability, you have the entrepreneur mentality of how to run a business.
Yes.
might not know every facet, but guess what? No one does.
No.
That's why businesses are teams of people.
Mhm.
So, but you at least understand that why this is important.
Yes.
Where was I going?
What was the last one?
That was it.
That was your target market.
That's your target market.
Right. And it took me a while to understand the concept. So
Mhm.
give us an example of a target market and why you would need one.
Okay. Well, I mean, we could
Or
go off
maybe
on
why
it.
you let's make it like shortish.
Okay, so let me, instead of just doing
Okay.
this one
Okay.
topic,
Mhm.
let's actually give a client. A
Okay.
client that we're working with.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Okay, we're working with an author.
Mhm.
Okay, she writes books mostly for women, and they have strong female characters that are not trope. Like they are not your cliche
Mm,
Disney princesses
got it.
in need.
So strong, independent women that
Yep.
that love slutty.
Well, I mean,
books
it
and wanna
can
get
be,
laid.
but it's a female driven
Mhm.
market
Mhm.
about female characters who own themselves,
Mm.
regardless of how it's presented.
Yep.
It's someone who does not apologize for being who they are.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what her books are about.
Gotcha.
Okay, now the beauty of marketing her is we're marketing her.
So she is her target
She
market.
is her target market.
Gotcha.
So she is also the brand.
Mm.
So she's all wrapped up into one. Now,
Yep.
now, granted, we can easily say she is her target market,
Mhm.
but she's not. She's definitely not. We can say because that's the vision we have for it.
Okay.
And her ideal to market herself, which is her brand, and her goal is to maybe get more people to be aware of her brand awareness. Once they're aware of her, then they can start reading her books and start liking her.
Gotcha.
Because we don't want to sell the book.
So what were some of the recommendations you made to her when it comes to promoting herself?
The thing that I keep coming back to is authenticity. If you're an author, and again, this is what I was getting to, is we're not trying to sell the book. If we're trying to sell the book, we make a trailer for the book, right? We make a trailer for a movie to sell the movie. I don't care about the movie.
Yeah.
I care about people liking her so they get engaged with the book, so they buy the next 10 books.
Mm.
So they sign up for her fan club. So
Mhm.
they go fly around the country whenever she's doing a book signing, right? We sell her.
So she's not selling books, she's selling herself.
Yeah.
Because once the people start liking her, then she could pretty much sell whatever she wants.
Stephen King.
Yeah.
Do you buy The Stand because The Stand was really a cool book? Or do you buy what the fuck ever Stephen King's coming out with this week?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. The Dark Tower Part 18.
Yeah.
So you sell the person, you sell the brand.
And what's
Okay.
interesting is that Stephen King took a little break
Oh,
and started a whole new series of books under a pseudonym that did not sell.
yep. So your branding matters.
Yes.
Right? And when you are your brand, then you can voice your opinions because you are going to sell yourself together.
Gotcha.
Okay? So now, what is her target market? Her target market are people craving escapism and to own their own lives when maybe they can't, or maybe they don't think they're allowed to.
Mm.
Or maybe they're just reading shitty books and they really want something good.
Mhm. Yeah, they're done with all the damsel in distress
Right.
ones. Yeah.
So we can fine tune the market, but that's where we're aiming for. We're aiming at people who aren't outspoken. We're aiming at people who want to be outspoken.
Oh, and then she could be like the voice for them, and then
Authenticity.
For them, yes. Oh my
So
God, I love
this
that.
is where I said you need to go all in on being a real person.
Mm.
You need to tell your stories.
Mhm.
She went on a podcast last week. I listened to 5 minutes and I stopped and I said, I wrote her like 10 texts in a row. And I
Yeah,
was like,
you even sent me ones like, "This is so great. This is just exactly what she should be
It's
talking
exactly.
about." Yes. Uh-huh.
and she nailed it. And I know she was a little nervous going into it, which anyone going on a podcast for the first time, I get it. But it was so good because she was a human being. And I kept thinking the whole hour podcast was like, if I didn't know this person, I would have fallen in love with them. And knowing them, I fell in love with her more. I want her to succeed. I want her to fucking explode. And anyone who gets to see that side of her they're on board.
Yeah. And anybody who could relate to her story
Yes.
would click on the podcast link where her name would be
Yes.
listed, and that would take her to the book on Amazon, and that's how you sell yourself.
Now,
any
and
product.
that also made me want to connect with those podcast hosts, because
Mhm.
if they saw the
Value.
in her,
Mhm.
well, then I see the value in them.
Mhm.
And if I see the value in this human being that I'm just learning about for the first time, who's an author, well, fuck yes, I'm going to check out the book.
Yep, exactly. And I'm sure you told your wife, you told me, so it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm already looking at what podcast she was on, and I'm
Well-
saving screenshots so I can look it up later.
Yes, and we're the ones helping her do this shit, and we're still fans.
Yes.
So it's, if you are your brand, if you know your audience and you know the goal you want to achieve, then go all in.
Mhm.
Voice your political
Yeah.
stance. Oh, that's where I didn't talk about any of this.
Yeah.
She's voicing her political stance on this stuff. She's not shying away from it.
Because that's who she is. That's
Bingo.
what she's selling. So I would not expect somebody that authentic and wild and sexy and in your face, strong woman to be a Republican. There's no way.
Or to be middle of the road
Yes.
and to not ruffle feathers.
Yes.
Because that wouldn't feel authentic.
Mhm, no, like she's a badass bitch who can voice her opinion and not give a shit,
Right.
unlike me. But that's
Unless we want to be seen that way.
okay. Right.
But that's not our brand. Now, our brand is badass content for badass brands, which makes me want to go all in. And literally, guys, if you're listening to this at home, this is our business meeting right here. As much as it is a
I
podcast, we
know.
are literally
I
talking
know.
about the future of our marketing.
Yeah. And I think that this is a good compromise that we talk about it.
Yes. Oh,
We
always.
voice our opinion, but not like we put it someplace where like you won't get offended if you don't sit through a 1 hour show. You know what I mean? If you just scroll through our Instagram, you're good, you know? And you know what? And if they invest the time to watch us
Mm.
for a 1 hour show,
Mhm.
I hope they still understand that we're allowed to make our own fucking decisions, and we will come to their business
Right.
with an open mind and an open heart,
Always.
as long as we're not hired to sell hate.
Agreed.
You know,
or have
that's-
to deal with it, or have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's not gonna
you
happen.
mentioned before that you're just a sidebar. I wanted to say that too. Like somebody said, "Oh, blah blah," and, you know, like those black people.
Oh, yeah.
So
the electrician.
yeah, and I also want to say that I had white friends talk to me like that, and they think that I am a safe person to talk to about other topics because I'm white. I am not your safe person. Okay, do not bring me any sort of and this is a close friend that did this, and I was so fucking livid. I'm like,
Yeah.
who the fuck do you think you're talking to? You know, it's like, no, just because we're the same color, it doesn't mean I'm a fucking racist Republican. No. So that was it. I'm like, I'm done. Mm-mm.
I think we just got the teaser for the show. So, takeaways from this, because I think we've hashed
Sorry,
this
now
out.
you got me all riled up. So
Right?
you have
So
to-
now we're going to change all our marketing.
No, we're not.
Damn it. No, I mean, and I wouldn't want to go 100%
Yeah.
into it, but definitely more than we are now.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, that just, oh my God, that's just sussing people out. We talked about it when Jesse was here, remember? What do you do? How do you suss people out? How do you have a gatekeeper on your website? You know, a lot of like boudoir companies will have a gatekeeper image.
Mhm.
And if you don't like this image,
Mhm.
this is too risque,
Mhm.
maybe we don't work
Yeah.
together.
And by the way, that's exactly what I'm planning on doing with my new brand. It's going to be ass or nipples to the heavens and back, like maybe even open legs. Who knows?
But I love that this is probably the first time a lot of people have like
Oh, sorry.
heard us.
Okay,
So
edit
this
out.
is way off the beaten path. No, that's fine, because your new brand is dealing with boudoir,
Yes.
but more like risque boudoir.
Risque and couples boudoir.
Couples
yes.
boudoir.
So like it won't be like the censored nips or
Right,
whatever.
right.
It's like, if you want to go, let's go. I'll shoot whatever you
I mean,
want.
the company's name is Boudoir After Dark.
Yes.
So bad. Wait for it, because I cannot wait to start
Oh my
marketing
God,
this
you are
shit.
so
I am so stoked to start doing this. So with that, like you have a gatekeeper,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
If we have a gatekeeper on our marketing, we're going to keep away the people. Think about gatekeeper not just as keeping away people you don't want to work with,
Mhm.
but think about it also as like for our wedding business, For Love Films, we have gatekeeper content on the website that looks really nice. Like we put up nice films, nice photos, the website, like we paid a lot of money to have our website done. And we did that so people don't reach out to us and say, hey, I have $500, what can you do? And then I have to write that email every day the way I did with my last company because it didn't look like we were charging 10 grand for a wedding, you know? So that's a gatekeeper. A gatekeeper for another business can be like tacos. Like if you sell amazing tacos, show your tacos.
Right.
But more importantly, show people eating your tacos. Because people identify with faces. This is going like way bookending, but not in the right bookending order.
Now I want tacos.
I want tacos too, man. Really bad. So what's the takeaway from this? End of discussion. Know your three things: brand, goal, and clients, who your audience is. And
honestly, even if you can't answer all those questions, go with your gut and follow through. You know, if you're gonna be one way, then like get on board and be like, okay, cool, this is who I am. You know, fuck everything else.
Yeah.
Go all the way.
If you're gonna jump in with both feet, jump in with both feet, and just go.
Because you actually might get more business out of that.
Right. Penzies blew up. A spice company I've never heard of, and then I ended up. I'm sorry, I went there twice.
Or the
went to
sticker.
the location.
I'm sorry. Or the sticker company that, you know, they shot themselves in the foot because they decided to announce, you know, something, and then everybody's like, fuck you more, I'm done.
Well,
and
Uline did that too. And
oh yes.
Uline is I was buying a lot of our stuff for our studio from Uline.
Yeah.
And then I canceled my
account. I kept saving the catalogs, meaning to order, but once you told me, I'm like, nope. So I just throw away all the catalogs.
And I mentioned it on a show before. There is a great app called Goods Unite Us. And Goods Unite Us will tell you what brands have donated to what campaigns, like what side. So if you're very firm about your belief, I mean, check it out. The information's there. And then there's a Outed Secrets. I forget what the name of it is. I will put it down in the thing. Secrets. I'm taking notes to put shit in here. Okay. So I look at my notes real quick because I know like we summed everything up, but I really kind of want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything just for people's sake. Okay. Okay. So I did have a couple final notes. Diversify your platforms. If you want to mitigate risk, understand that different platforms have different purposes for different audiences. So in the past, you know, I've been very vocal about not posting on every social media because your audience is not on every social media. In the last 2 months, we've seen an exodus from Facebook, an exodus from Instagram, an exodus from X, Twitter. I'm sorry, I'm never going to call it X. So having your business established on other platforms, even ones that you might not like,
such as Blue Sky Social is really popular.
Our Blue Sky Social is fucking hilarious, and I'm shocked we only have 2 followers. I post in that thing every day.
Oh my god!
And it is funny as hell.
Even if he says so himself.
Yeah, exactly. And then adapt content strategies, like you were talking about. If you're going to go all in, go all in, but go in with a reason.
Right.
I don't care how you do things. Why you do things is what's important.
Exactly.
Right? Like I could teach a man to fish, or I could give a man a fish. Okay, like this is how I fish. Right? I fish like this. But if I tell you why I'm fishing in this area versus over there versus over there, now you're learning. I'm not just going to eat a fish a day. Now I'm going to open a sushi shop because I have too much fish. So you have to understand like why you're doing things, and then stay informed. Be open-minded. Read, watch, consume. Edgar Allan Poe said, "Believe half of what you see, none of what you hear." It's getting worse now. Yeah. But what I say is, who wrote it? Who owns them? And what do they have to gain from it?
For me personally, I like to look at BBC.
I like BBC,
and
AP News.
AP News, yes. So
Reuters is
So anything that's, excuse me, not from this country, like
Al Jazeera is
Al Jazeera, I
really
love
good.
Al Jazeera.
And I was one of those idiots who were like, that sounds Middle Eastern.
No,
that sounds like it's terrorist.
They speak
Fuck me.
English, okay?
Jesus,
So,
it's a
yeah,
great
it's fucking
organization.
great.
Yeah.
But it's like they have no skin in the game whatsoever. So
Correct.
like they literally report what the world thinks, which is a lot more interesting than, you know.
And I'll tell you right now, any news organization that has been banned from the White House probably is telling you the truth.
Not only, but did you hear, like just today was announced that the Russian, the official Russian newspaper
Yes.
is like in the White House?
No, they were at there when Zelensky was in
Oh,
the
okay, so it
meeting at
started
the White
then.
House. AP News was not there.
Mhm.
Reuters was not there. They weren't allowed to be.
Mhm.
But the Russian newspaper was. And today, the big news about today in the Russian world is the cybersecurities has been checked off for Russia.
What is that?
That's a whole other fucking topic
Okay.
that we're not going to get into.
Yeah.
But
But it's not good?
what it comes down to is do your research, stay informed, and don't just read it from one source.
Yes.
Read it from multiple sources.
Yes, and Facebook is not a source.
Yeah, no shit. Unless it's to sell Eo7 Media. And following, no, I'm not going to do that. If you like us, cool. If you don't,
Not sorry.
There's other videos you can watch that actually will help your business, regardless of what you think of me personally. So, any last things you want to say to anyone before we actually say
I
goodbye?
think this is like a 2-hour episode. So.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us on Coffee and Cameras. If you liked what you saw, please consider liking and subscribing, and let us know what you guys and your business is doing in the current climate for your marketing. Now, if you like this episode, please check out some of our other shows like Pitch Session, where we give free advice to businesses, or Marketing in Focus, where I like to sit down, or whoever else likes to sit down, and discuss kind of more of a deep dive rabbit hole idea of things about marketing that you may not have considered for your own marketing. I'm talking too much. I hope you're having an amazing day. And if you would love to work with us or even just talk with us, we offer a free hour consultation to better understand your business, your goals, and your target market, and see how we can fit into it and best tell your brand story. Visit us at eo7media.com and let's get the ball rolling. Otherwise, have an amazing day, be better, and do something awesome today. Thanks for sticking around.